Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's see who's in. Let's see, streaming quality, bad as usual. Clash and Kara. I don't think I've seen you before. You, Yatuki 001. Hello, another new person. Kyokuk Monty. Petite Penguin. Autumn Nichols. Janice Windsor. Kai Lucas Zachary. Moonlit Illusion. Tronite. LC. Spooner Morte. General Sorrow, welcome. Silver E55. Maria. Some new people. Dark Wolf Den's in. Hello, Dark Wolf. I advertised your conference last week. I don't think you were here, though. Chariots of Faith. Shari D. Hello, hello. Paul and E9. Chanty Moody. Okay, a bunch of people in. Okay, it's kind of a quiet week for Emmys. Didn't see a lot. You guys didn't have a lot, but I do have some. One of them was kind of inspired by my own experiences. Last week I was on here and I told you I got stung by a bee. And then 5 days later, I got stung again. That's a nasty little hive. I wasn't even anywhere near the hive, cutting bushes. And I cut a bunch of bushes with no problem. And then one bee came over to see what was going on and stung me right away. Now, I only saw one bee. And that's what's really weird is because I ended up with 2 stings. And I really am pretty sure that I just had the one bee and then I killed it. And, well, he's going to die anyway because he stung me. But I got stung twice. So I was kind of wondering. Now, the lore is that bees can only sting once. So, was there another bee that was really quiet and stung me and I didn't see it? So I looked it up. And one thing that I noticed a while back is that they're saying that female bees can sting more than once. That's a little bit older of an ME. I don't know if I've mentioned that one before, but they're saying now that female bees can sting only once. Also, female bees go on this mating run where they leave the hive, fly around, mate, and then go back in. I don't think I've ever brought up, but I do remember very specifically that years ago, the male would have to climb into the nest to get to the female. And they would say that the worker bees would clip off the wings of the male and bring him into the female. So now the female leaves the hive and flies around. So that's a very different story. I have a lot of detail on how that male bee would get in there too. So that's another thing that's changed. But those are both older. So anyway, I looked up this bees only sting once thing. And the answer right now is yes and no. So the story is it's a common urban myth that bees can only sting once, but it's partially based in truth. Honeybees have a barb stinger, and if they sting a thick-skinned mammal like a human, the barb hook gets stuck as they try to pull away, ripping their insides out and killing the bee within a few minutes. If they were to sting another insect or a vertebrate with thinner skin, they'd probably live to tell the tale. That's definitely different. I have seen many documentaries where they would say that, like, when bees fought with hornets, they were at a disadvantage because they could only sting once. Now, apparently, they can sting lots of times. Also, I think I had on almost a year ago where they were saying that if a bee stung you and you very patiently let it wiggle its way out, that it would sometimes be able to remove its barb without dying. And I was already suspicious of that one. But I'm really suspicious that that bee maybe stung one, like maybe lightly, and then a second sting. I'm really suspicious that that one bee stung me twice. So that wouldn't be the weirdest thing around with the ME. That's certainly true. But anyway, I can't prove it, but that's my bee thing. Beehives without roofs. Yeah, that somebody brought that Emmy up quite some time ago that people remembered beehives as like a ball, and that's very true. It was quite a long time ago. Now they have those weird combs and everything, but yeah, they used to make their own ball and then be in it, and now they go into like holes and stuff, and they don't make their own ball. That was a long time ago, though, a long time ago. Some crappy luck you've had. You know what? That hive, it's a crabby hive. And if you know much about bees, I'm not the total expert, but my friends have hives and I've learned a lot about them. Each hive has its own personality, and it has to do with the DNA of the female and how much they say it's how much Africanized bee is in them. I mean, who the heck knows now anyway, but and so it's supposed to be the personality of the queen and the personality of the bee she mated with to get all those eggs. Those two determine the personality of the offspring. And sometimes, if a hive is really mean, they'll change out the queens, which is actually fairly doable, to try to find a nicer queen. So, like, beekeepers will have different hives, and each hive has a personality, and the keepers know which hive is the crabby hive and which are the nicer hives. And some hives are more successful, stronger genetics for survival. So this hive, the location it's at, we've actually removed bees from there in the past. We tried our best to clean out all the honey and seal it, but they always get back in. It's an area that's very hard to seal. And so we've taken them out, and they've been in there for like 25 years, and they just keep going back in. A new hive will go back in. We took out the old hive. We gave it to a beekeeper. They took it away, and then now a new hive is back. This hive is mean. They're just, they're not like totally mean, but they're on the crabby side. That's all I have to say. They're meaner than normal. Usually they mind their own business. I mean, I've had that hive here for so many years, and I one time got stung like 15 years ago when I was near the hive, and that was it. And now I've gotten stung 3 times in 2 weeks. So yeah, they're mean. Part of it is because I'm out there doing a bunch of stuff, but still. The drone stuck around in the queen. I think that now it's that she mates with the males and she just saves all the sperm. They don't mate. I'm pretty sure that's the current story. The last I checked, the drones would come in and they would get clipped and they would mate and she would save all the sperm. But now I think that she goes out and gets them and just has all that sperm. I've seen people get stung and the bee died right away. Mostly they still do that, but they're saying, and they even had on video, that if you let them sting and you don't smack them or anything, then they can often work their way out. I mean, most people immediately go, ow, psh, and then you rip the barb out, and so they die. So that's the story now. But I am quite sure that I saw many documentaries where they said that bees, even fighting with hornets and other insects, could only sting once. So the story is kind of morphing, and I would not be surprised if we hear that sometimes they could sting twice. I would not be surprised if that even on humans. If they don't get a good sting in the first time, I would not be surprised if that comes down the chute the way it's moving. I know a lot of humans with thin skin. Yeah, well, I won't go there, but yeah. And also, like I said, that the female now, they said, does not have the barbs on her stinger and can sting many times. So that's different. That wasn't the case. Sweet bee stung me more than one time. Yeah, I'm not. We're talking about honeybees, so I can't really say about the other bees. Other bees, including solitary bees, have small barbs, so they can apparently sting you multiple times. Because only the honeybees have the big barbs, supposedly. Now we have red, blue. Yeah, red, blue bees. All these weird colors, I know. Yeah, that one's been on before. Okay, so that's bees. There's been much talk of the star forts that didn't exist in many people's realities. showed up, what was it, like a year ago? All those star forts showed up. There's another weird one now. Okay, so when the star forts first showed, they were sort of like over in the UK and other places mostly, and there was only a few here. But it looks like there's quite a lot of them here now. There's a little one over in Florida. Not the biggest star fort in town, but still cool. The mystery of Florida's cannonball eating Spanish fort. So supposedly that when they tried to take this fort, they lobbed gajillions of cannonballs on it. And normally the cannonballs would just like break apart the stone, but what would happen is it would just go in there like it was going into foam, and they would call it the cannonball eating star fort. And they said it was because, you can see all these millions of holes in here, that the fort was made of coquina, which is a sedimentary rock formed from compressed shells of dead marine organisms. Now, I do have something called coquina rock, that, like a piece of it that they would do, they would polish into gemstones, and it has millions of little fossils in it. It doesn't really look like this, though. But I just thought it was kind of neat because it's a star fort, and now it's a cannonball eating star fort. So just wanted to add that in there. There's a big old story about how it survived and all this because it was made of coquina. All right. Can't find that one I had saved. Maybe it was on our... There. This whole thing where all kinds of animals take bubbles of air down with them is being very popular in this timeline. This water anole, which is a kind of lizard, I know it looks very like metallic, which is already weird. It's got these weird lips. And then it has this air bubble, apparently, that it puts on its head and breathes. But it's weird because the air bubble, like, it's like it disappears and comes back or something. It's really a weird looking thing. Uses bubbles on its head to breathe underwater and hide from predators. I'm not sure how that would help you hide from predators, but I guess they mean underwaterness. Anyway, that thing is really weird. I mean, they had those weird, there's like spiders that take the air bubbles down. Everything in its uncle takes the air bubbles down in this timeline. There was none of that way back. Anyone else have a veggie garden that won't produce any veggies or fruits even though the plants themselves are growing? Huh. Well, I had a tree like that once. It was just such a stingy plum. It wouldn't give any plums, or it would grow a few plums and drop them. We could never figure it out. It finally died. I mean, it looked really healthy, but I stopped watering it when water got really expensive and it died. But yeah, I don't know. I'm too lazy for gardens, and I've got a lot of work too because I work, so. I like to see new star forts built. Yeah, you never see them built. They just show up. I thought I was an idiot about forts And that's why I didn't know about star forts, but then I realized no one seems to remember them. Yeah, I don't think I've heard anybody that said they remember them. As we shift along though, we may run into people who start saying, "Oh yeah, they've always been there." Okay, so there's that one. See if I can find what's that one. We're on Reddit. I should probably bop over to. I wasn't going to put this one on, but since I don't have that much stuff today, there's one other thing I wanted to cover. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, this is actually an interesting one I should also bring up. This one was from Radahi Clive. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. This person was off by 1 year on their child's age, and they were sure they knew their child's age, and then they had to look up the birth certificate so that this person found that they were wrong by a year. What's also interesting, though, is a bunch of other people chimed in about similar experiences. I thought I was 34, turned out I was only 33. My dad thought I was turning 34 also, and he also happens to be one that sees a lot of the same MEs as this person. So this person got an extra year, apparently. I don't know. So there just seems to be a lot of people kind of chiming in on this stuff. And so it's something I haven't really seen covered. So I just wanted to kind of say, did you suddenly lose a year? Did you suddenly gain a year? Weird kind of stuff like that. Yeah, see, how could someone not know their own child's age? This person is positive that they did know it. And you could probably blow it off as just being an airhead, but there's a whole bunch of people chiming in that they also remembered certain years, and other people also remembered them. So it was like split in half. It wasn't just them that was misremembering. Another person in the family misremembered the same. And we've had so much weird date shifting and stuff, so it's really not that surprising that some of this might be happening. But I just wanted to bring that one up. So there's this not the one I was looking for though. Burp. Where the heck did that one even go? All right, this is the one. So it was here. Okay, so this person, bro asking questions, found this online, and he thought this was kind of like how he notices some of the new changes in the faces. So this is sort of like more like the faces you used to see, and now you've got these cheekbones that are up. One thing I really wanted to mention was that I really noticed that a lot of people have this weird wrinkle right here, right where their cheek flab kind of hits their nose, and it kind of hits above the nostril on the side over here. And it was really prominent in one of my friends. I see her every few weeks, and 1 week, suddenly I saw her, and I'm like, what's wrong? I was thinking in my head, what's wrong with her face? Because she's got this wrinkle now that impacts on the nose. And it looks really weird. And I had never seen that before until I saw it on her. It looked like there was something wrong with her face. And now, after that, I started looking around and I saw it on a bunch of other people. And I've known her for 20 years. She did not have, this, you don't get that in 3 weeks. That's all I have to say. But so this girl kind of reminds me, because you can see this cheek thing coming up and it's kind of hitting on the nose. As she gets a little older, you could see kind of a wrinkle hitting maybe on the nose there. Whereas before, when people had high cheekbones, I remembered it being more up here, but there wouldn't be like this wrinkle. A lot of people are getting this wrinkle on the nose now that just, I don't know, that just looks weird to me. It's like the nose almost looks smashed in somehow. The other thing you can kind of see on this girl too, and that I've noticed on myself in the last few weeks, maybe the last month especially, is it looks like the nostrils are getting, like my nose is getting tipped up more. So you can see in the nostrils easier. It's like the edges of the nose are a little bit curved now. And so it's like, the nose is coming up more like that. And the nostrils are kind of exposing more. I didn't used to be able to see up my nose as easily. And it's not really extensive. But, it's my nose. And I know that I didn't, and like this part in the middle, I can see it more because these nostrils have kind of receded a little bit. So it's kind of weird to see in there so easily. So that's something else that has changed for me. Do you eat rotten shark meat? Well, I must have missed some of that conversation. Eek. The black eggs that I find disturbing. Oh, are they coming out black now? The black eggs. Awakadani black eggs. When we were looking at egg colors a while back, I looked for these weird colors and there were no black eggs. Kuro tamago or black eggs can be purchased 5 at a time. The eggs are ordinary chicken eggs, but the shell turns black due to being boiled in the hot sulfur springs. Okay, so they don't come out of the chicken black. I don't get how boiling them in sulfur makes them black, but this might be the first round for the black eggs. So awakadani black eggs. Awakudani. Okay, so they're not actually out of the chicken black. Not yet. This might be the first round in this ME, though. Black sulfur eggs. Okay, not yet did they come out of the chickens. Yet. Three days ago, I thought my granddaughter was playing a joke on me when she brought me this tiny black ball and tried to pass it off as an egg. Our khaki Campbell duck. Have you ever heard of a black egg? All right, that's not totally black, though. It's like a dark gray. The black Swedish duck hen is laying white ones. What makes the shell the black color? Well, it's pretty dark. Not much yolk in there. So it's like a dark brown egg. Khaki Campbells usually lay whitish or bluish eggs. Yeah, they were saying that yolk is weird. Our eggs right now are light gray color too. I looked up the black Swedish and they can lay gray eggs, so now I think it's her. Huh, okay, so I don't know. It sounds like this is supposedly in 2013, but huh? 100-year eggs. Okay, 100-year eggs. Basically, they get regular eggs and they ferment them. It's not really 100 years, but the Chinese call those. I think I don't know if it's just the Chinese, but my Asian friends would call them 100-year eggs. They love them. I think it's one of those things you kind of have to grow up with to like, because to me, they just are not that good. Flight time between Beijing and Dubai has changed a lot. Would not surprise me. From black chickens. Yeah, now those black chickens have been around for a while for me with the black bones. Transgenders organize politics. I do not remember that before. I swear I remember them being entirely apolitical and always avoiding politics. I don't, that must be a different timeline because that was never the case for me. That's one thing I know I was not in such a timeline. Apparently, my name changed. Someone on my Facebook told me they remember an A in my name. The Emmy is a weird thing. Yeah, that's interesting. Does this person even know about the Emmy? They're talking about these changes, but they don't know about the Emmy. It's extra interesting. And that's the Emmy's favorite way. Most of the spelling changes are like one digit. There's some exceptions though, but that's its favorite method is one digit. Riptorn has died again. Yeah, that one's been making the rounds. I just don't keep track of a lot of the entertainment industry enough to say on a lot of these. Some of the more well-known ones I can, but what's up with all the transgender people? Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, people, it's very hard to tell people apart as far as male versus female. And the one I saw the other day was Lady Diana. To me, some of the images of her, she doesn't even really necessarily have to be a female anymore. I mean, some of these images, that could be a dude with makeup and long hair. She doesn't look like I remember her. I just remember more cheek up here and less down there, and she's looking very, not that feminine anymore. And none of these images, this one is probably closer with that side view. The front views look extra weird to me. I mean, that's not Lady Diana. Not the one I remember. I mean, look at that one. That just doesn't look like her at all. It looks like a dude is impersonating her, and I don't know, her face is just so different in this reality. I mean, is that even her? I mean, it just doesn't even look like her at all. I think she was more beautiful in the other reality, too. I don't even know who this one is. I mean, is that her? I want to say that's just not her. Freaked me out, man. I just stumbled on that one. I'm not really good at a lot of celebrities, but she was plastered all over the TV, like all the time. All over the internet news. So you see her, I saw her face so many times. Yeah, you're right. Her nose is really big here too. Her nose was more these are just images of people. We cannot let them dominate our feelings. Well, they're not dominating my feelings. I just think it's really weird. Plus, my own face has changed a ton. I mean, like, the bone structure up here, you could see it. I actually think my face is probably a little better looking than it was before, but it is definitely less feminine. So it's not just images on the internet. I mean, I see it in my friends. I see it in my own face. The faces are really changing. It's just not. It's not just on the internet. I look more and more like Brad Pitt. Okay. Well, when you become rich and famous, don't forget us all. All right. But yeah, you're right. Diana's, her nose is really big in these pictures. She's got kind of a, yeah, that, that is a big one. She did not have a big schnozzle. She does have a really big schnozzle in this one. I was looking more at the outlines of her face, but her nose is really wide in these pictures. Just don't, it really, her hair is still similar, but, and the expressions on her face, but anyways, go on for all day. All right. This one was a weird one. Magnetic. Okay, see if I can find the one I was looking for. October 31. This is the one. All right, this is from 2008 too, so whatever if you say so. Magnetic portals connect sun and earth. So apparently there's this weird thing where the sun's magnetic field hooks up with ours and creates this weird portal. Recently, many scientists didn't believe in a magnetic portal will open, linking Earth to the sun 93 million miles away. Tons of high energy particles may flow through the opening before it closes again around the time you reach the end of the page. It's called a flux transfer event, or FTE. 10 years ago, I was pretty sure they didn't exist, but now the evidence is incontrovertible. All right. So what were they saying? It was every 8 minutes, the two fields briefly merge or reconnect, forming a portal through which particles can flow. The portal takes the form of a magnetic cylinder about as wide as Earth. So you just imagine this magnetic cylinder, the width of Earth, going all the way to the sun. Siebeck believes this is happening twice as often as previously thought. I think there are two varieties of FTEs, active and passive. Active FTEs are magnetic cylinders that allow particles to flow rather easily. They are important conduits of energy for Earth's magnetosphere. Passive FTEs are magnetic cylinders that offer more resistance. Their internal structure does not admit such an easy flow of particles and fields. Anyway, it sounds totally Star Trek-y. This giant magnetic portal all the way to Earth every, what they say, 8 minutes or something. Just weird. Since 2008, I don't think so. Has anyone ever heard of the magnetosphere? I think it's about a 5-year-old term for me. All right. All right, this is a weird one for me. I remember only America imprisoning Japanese during World War II in the Japanese internment camps. But in this timeline, Canada did it too. I'm pretty sure there was no Canadian internment camps. It was just America that had that stain. It would have been sort of different if more places did it. I know Canada was just not that much of a jerks in my old timeline. But apparently, beginning after the attack on Pearl Harbor and lasting till 1949, so that's 8 years, Japanese Canadians were stripped of their homes and businesses and sent to internment camps and farms in British Columbia interior and across Canada. The program was funded in part by the sale of property belonging to this forcefully displaced population, which included fishing boats, motor vehicles, houses, and personal belongings. So a bunch of them were granted exemptions, but still, apparently there was quite a lot of, let me see, when was the numbers? Anyways, I don't remember that happening. There's a big old storyline here about apologies and this and that, and no, I just, Canadians didn't do it. How is it Greenland has little to no sun in winter, but Argentina and New Zealand have sun during their winter? It's not, we just want one of them. Nope. All right, let's try. All right, are we loading a globe map here or not? Why so hard? The funny thing is I click on it by mistake and find it often enough. Let's see if I have Google Earth somewhere. I had it up here before. Google Earth Pro. Let's load this one. Hopefully that doesn't crash the computer or anything. My fiance is Canadian, but so is Bret Hart. But so is Justin Bieber. So you have some explaining to do, Mr. Canada. Take back your Bieber. Although he's commentating lately. I'll load this thing sometime this millennia. Yeah, I shouldn't rag on him too much. I mean, he's not really done anything really bad other than just be a goof. All right, where's that one where you were saying? How is it that Greenland has little to no sun? And all right, so let's see. Where's Greenland? All right, but Greenland's there. I think North Pole's about there, isn't it? Right around here is North Pole. So Greenland is like right on the pole now. Now, it used to be out over here, and Canada was sort of like, the side of Canada was pushed up more. So this gulf has come down and just squished over Canada. But so Greenland is like right on the pole. All right. But Argentina, see, nothing else is like right on the pole, because, and I mean, Antarctica is, but nothing else is nearly like right on the pole like Greenland is. In New Zealand, that it's not. So the pole is here, and New Zealand's way over there. Whereas Greenland, I got it all spun around. I mean, the pole is here and Greenland's right here. So Greenland's a lot closer. You know, the Emmy is pretty sneaky. It's hard to fool it. It's hard to catch it in an obvious mistake. There's an episode of Edge of Wonder on YouTube that explains the Emmy. Our species millions of years in the future at war with an alien race who went back in time. Yeah, you know, the thing is, we pretty much, most of us agree that it just timelines doesn't really explain it, because the changes are sneaky. They seem to be directed. They're kind of like done in such a way that we don't notice them. So I don't. Anyway, everybody who says they know for sure what's causing the Emmy and what's going on exactly, I'd say, where's your evidence? Because there's a whole lot of people online claiming specific knowledge of things, and there's no evidence. There's just not enough evidence to really nail it down and say this is what it is. So I'm just really skeptical. Whenever somebody says this is what it is, I'm like, eh. Now there's a bootlace worm whose saliva can kill cockroaches. Bootlace worm saliva kills cockroaches. All right, let's have fun with that. Saliva kills cockroaches. Yeah, there wasn't really anything that could kill them unless they got eaten by a bird or something. Animals' chemicals from the world's longest animal can kill cockroaches. Spooky, stretchy bodies. Cockroaches are pretty armored, too. Bootlace, ew. That looks like some kind of, that reminds me of the X-Files, that worm that came out of the guy's nose in the shower. It was like, oh, it was like black tar. Yeah, it was the evil black tar in X-Files. That's what that looks like. Yeah, no. I wish I had that. I should have had that on my on the thumbnail for the show. Mucus coating. They secrete a family of toxins new to science and new to this timeline. It holds the record as the world's longest animal. Can stretch up to 50 meters, 164 feet. The worm coats itself in mucus that smells like iron or sewage. The goo holds small toxic proteins that have now been dubbed nemertides. Those poisons also have shown up in 16 other species of bootlace worms. These nemertide poisons by attacking some of the tiny channels in cell walls. Much cell business depends on the right flux through these sodium channels. Among the important business, cell-to-cell communication. The toxin permanently paralyzes or kills animals. Huh. Bootlace worms. That's totally creepy looking. So they get how long? Oh, I forgot. 164 feet long. Okay. Looks like they got the creepiest looking one for that image too. Let's see, it's running really slow. I think the Google Earth is straining the system. I'm going to kill it. Bloop. All right, you could do it. Bootlace worms. Images. Yep, there we go. Ugh. That's marine worms there. Yeah, this timeline likes its gross worms, that's for sure. Ugh. Slow smells like sewers. Most people think CERN is responsible for the ME, but phenomena has been reported long before CERN was even thought of. Yeah, well, CERN is an ME for me. I definitely saw MEs in the 90s, and CERN wasn't there. In my timeline, they were put together as a consortium to develop the Hadron Super Collider, which is now the Hadron Super Collider. But in this timeline, they invented the World Wide Web, and they're much older, much older. So it's hard for me to think of them as the cause of the ME when they weren't even around when the ME started, for me. I really do suspect that everything in this earth pretty much may have come about in a similar way to what we're seeing with the ME. It was just slower, and we didn't have a way to communicate before the internet, and it just really kicked in 2012. That's my theory. I mean, that it was always doing this, but it's really ramped up. Like we're going through some kind of a big spurt of development. That's what I think. I mean, but I can't prove it. I have no proof, so that's just my theory. I look back, and there were weird things way back, we're like, that's weird. I swear that wasn't like that. But they were just isolated events. It just was not nearly the rate of change that we're seeing now. So it was easy to write those off. Oh, I must not have been paying attention. If there are different realities merging, there would be contradictions too great to merge into one. Well, that's an assumption, but if the realities were very similar, I don't necessarily think that's the case. Like, you were living in the USA in both realities, then there's not going to be a problem. I mean, I've definitely had many times when it seems like no matter what I do, I get funneled into one certain direction. Things that may seem random maybe aren't random at all. Maybe it's no coincidence that you like that apartment and the other you in another timeline also likes that apartment. Maybe that person in the other timeline ended up in that apartment for a different reason that they thought was completely random, but maybe it wasn't random. So we're assuming that the contradictions would be too great. But I don't think it would be the case if the timelines were similar enough. And if there is something kind of guiding all the timelines, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of a stretch, but. Huntsman spiders used to be the only spiders with lungs, but not anymore, it would appear anyone else noticed. Sorry, Bill, Emmy, I just didn't know spider lungs. So that is not one area I could comment on. I mean, certainly spiders have changed a ton, so it would not surprise me in the slightest, but I just don't know. I know nothing about spider lungs, except for what I noticed like last week when I was reading up on other spider stuff. I think you mentioned that last week too, and that's why I kind of just didn't comment. I don't know. All right, so where are we here? Oh, what's that thing on the thumbnail? Speaking of worms. I'm pretty sure this was not in my timeline. I actually was curious about these slugs versus snails in the past because I always wondered if there was intermediate, and I was not able to find anything. But in this timeline, there's an intermediate, and it's called the semi-slug. So that is one of them on the thumbnail, where they have kind of a shell, but they can't retract into it. It's called a semi-slug. So this pretty much opens the door for all kind of creepy stuff on the back of a slug, and they just call it like some kind of pseudo shell. Now some of them really do look like shells. Some of them don't look anything like shells. That's not a shell. They're saying it's some kind of vestigial shell. But a lot of them just look like super creepy lumps. So it's like supposedly an intermediary between a snail and a slug. That's the one that's on the thumbnail there. All right, so supposedly they just found these, and so they were talking about them. However, there's more weird stuff. Now, the slugs and snails, I swear, originally I do not recall them mating by stabbing each other into, like I don't even remember them being hermaphroditic way back. That was the first thing, that they were hermaphroditic. Then they were like, they just like stab their sperm into the other guy, so it's like this this dueling war of stabbings. So it's really violent and creepy. I don't remember that being the case, but let's see if I can find that thing. But now they also have something else that's totally creepy. So not only do they stab each other, but now that weird one I just showed you, the semi-slugs, but also a lot of regular slugs and a lot of regular snails, including the real common one that's supposed to be edible that's everywhere. They also shoot darts at each other. And the explanation for the darts is weird. It's saying that they somehow change the hormones of the other ones so that the sperm will be more fertile or something. Love darts, also known as shooting darts or just as darts, are shaped in many distinctive ways. All right, so here's all the darts that they shoot these darts into the other guy, and they're not tiny. There was an image here of one with a dart in it, and you could see it. I mean, it's pretty long. Made out of chitin. Okay, here it is. See, this thing right here apparently is one of these darts. So they shoot each other with these darts. They only have one dart on them at a time, then they have to grow another one. But it's totally weird. Then this whole mating dance, the two snails circle each other for up to 6 hours, touching tentacles. Yeah, you know, insects never did a mating dances before. Insects, I mean, that was something that mammals did. Um, I mean, sometimes you had to be approached carefully because the female would try to kill you or something, but there wasn't like this whole fancy mating dance. As the snails approach mating, hydraulic pressure builds up in the blood sinus around the organ, housing the dart. Each snail maneuvers to get its genital pore in the best position, close to the other snail's body. Then, when the body of one touches the other snail's genital pore, it triggers the firing of the dart. The darting can sometimes be so forceful that the dart ends up buried in the internal organs. It can pierce the body or head entirely and protrude on the other side. After both snails have fired their darts, the snails copulate and exchange sperm. See, now here they're not saying that they stab for the I wonder if that's changed, because before they were saying that the parts that inject the sperm were stabbing. Now I'm not seeing that. I'm wondering if maybe that's now the love darts thing. I'm gonna have to look into that a little more. But anyways, there was no, and they're even saying, oh, maybe this is where the Cupid's arrow concept came from and all this. Nope, that it just nope and nope. It's just nope. All right, and this is the last one for today. I'm gonna see what you guys are up to first. 1 hour mark reached. Thank you. Mine's going to be really short today. I've only got like one more. I seen a spider and it was silver and it crawled up me and I'm going inside. Yep. I host karaoke at least twice a week, and the constant changing gets pretty bizarre. Only occasionally does a customer notice. Yeah, I guess the lyrics would change on the screen, but the customer would just keep blabbing out what they remember the last time they sung it. I mean, they're probably just barely glancing at the screen once they're used to the song. Oh yeah, that's standing by the record machine. I saw that. I saw that Emmy on another channel. Yes, it was definitely standing by the record machine for me. That song. It was not dancing by the record machine. So yeah, I agree with that one definitely. I think that was Moneybags did that one. All right, Tronite. Realities can't be similar because each random choice leads to massive change. That is an assumption that we do not know for sure is fact. That just follows by the previous assumptions about how timelines work. But here's the thing: if each branch leads off in a different direction, there are always going to be branches that come out very similar. Maybe they'll be very different 100 years in the past and 100 years in the future, but they'll be similar right now. So maybe that's how it does. Anyway, I don't know. There's a lot of things we assumed. I certainly assumed that the ME was not possible before I saw the ME. So now I don't trust any of my other assumptions either. Assumptions that the Matrix tells you about how things work have already proven to be not correct by what my own eyes are seeing. I mean, the moon should not be able to come out at night. I mean, during the day, and the sun shouldn't be able to change color, and clouds shouldn't be able to change altitudes and have different styles and all that. So, the other thing I noticed today is just the sunset. Just the gradations of color on the sky at the same time are so much more beautiful now. I mean, you'll get like it'll be kind of orangey over here and reddish, and then over here it'll be more like orange juice, and then right over here it'll be kind of purple, and then right over here it'll be blue, and over here it'll be kind of whitish, all on the same sky at the same time. You just never used to see that kind of beauty before. Oh, did somebody just give me $5? Somebody did. Somebody sometime gave me $5. Let's see. Ghosty333, thank you. Ghosty333. I'm not sure when that came up. I'm just seeing it at the top there now. All right, now how do I go back to the chat? I don't know how to operate anything. All right, here we go. Just when I figure out how to operate some program, they update it, and then I can't understand it anymore. I'm still using classic version of YouTube, but I don't know how long that's going to last for until they pull it. Dark will stand $5. Thank you. Woohoo! $10 today. I've actually been, that's like a Mandela effect in itself, because the last like month people have actually been giving me money. It's a miracle. Moneybag73 did it. Yeah, I just call them money bags because to me it's Moneybag76 is the version I remember. Could you do a few of your stock photos, please? Oh, you mean like the what do you call it? The where are they? Where are they? I don't know what it is about computers, but your stuff just migrates around. So even though it used to be right here, like all these were way over there. Some of these were just images I was goofing around with. That's why they're on the indicator ME photos. You're talking about indicator MEs, right? Yeah, it's true. We haven't looked at those in a while. The flag looks good. Let's start here. How and why would birds be starting fires? Supposedly it flushes out. Are we talking about that Australian birds video I did a while back? Supposedly they flush out rodents and stuff to eat by spreading the fires. And since they can fly above, they're fine. God bless his cotton socks. Moneybag73. This Moneybags is way more like kind of chill out than my old one. My old guy was kind of serious. All right. Ooh, you know what? Oops. All right. Wait. Looks like a real deep groove in the snout. This one's getting more and more prominent over here. I noticed this a little while back, like a few weeks ago. I do not remember when this thing showed up, this funky little guy here. It's like some kind of repair or something. Oh, that's interesting. I don't remember this thing on top of the head here. It looks like there's a little cap. That's different. Eva's toes. I don't think I've mentioned lately though, this bump on the edge of the toes is getting a lot bigger still. My feet are a lot wider. I also think my toes are longer, and for sure the space between the toes continues to expand. Those toes used to be squished up next to each other. I think my toes have gotten longer. I used to have really short toes. Now they're kind of like normal, like short-ish, but they're not super short. Okay, that one looks about the same. This thing right here might be a little bit bigger. Whatever that little booba is. Nothing super obvious there. I've mentioned before, this one is, God is sinking just a tiny little bit more each time I look. This guy's head is really red. I don't remember him having red face like that. This baby or whatever it is. You could see these over here, these edges of the neighboring walls were not in this picture before. They're pinched in. That's something that's really changed. That's actually a huge one for me. That was not like that. But I've mentioned that before, but it seems to be continuing. Okay, this one. Nothing super obvious. This one hasn't been changing much. Some of the old indicators are not changing as much. I really need to look for some new indicator photos, because I think certain things go through active periods. Oh, this is interesting. Now, I think the last time I looked at that, some of these were smaller. They've all gotten bigger. I think that one was kind of a small one there. I think there might have only been 3 on here instead of 4. I don't think there were 4. I think it might have been this one that's a new one. I'm not sure. But yeah, interesting. There was not 4 in a row, actually, the more I think about that. The ears are getting the little swoops out the side now. That was not like that before. Yeah, it's probably good I go over these. I haven't done this in a while. Wonder what that is now. See that? I had talked before that was a tent before, but now it's a structure. I'm wondering what this thing is up here now. Something is growing up here. Something's going on over here with this. That's the house on the hill that changes. Haven't seen too much going on over here. Some weird rocks over on the side that I don't have in the photo have been altering slowly, but these tree layouts have been altering slowly. Still no word on what this thing is. Okay, see, now there's this little shack here. There's something right here. That wasn't there before. I'm gonna have to dig around and see if I can find what that is. Actually, let me just go back and look at the... Nope, don't know. That hair hasn't changed much. Not super active on here, but there's something going up on behind Washington's head. I keep thinking, see, that's weird. It looks drippy there. That's been there for a while, though. And the veins have not changed for a while, like these weird veins in the rock. I'm going to read what you guys are up to. What about O.G. Simpson's glove thing? I don't know what happened with that one. It's no longer, if it fits, you must acquit. Right, somebody Somebody just did $10. I don't know where it came from. Bit of venom, or no, 10 pounds, I think that is, which actually I think is more than dollars, so that's cool. Thank you. 2 thumbs up. There are now statues sitting on their knees on Easter Island. I did find some of those, like there's the little ones. I think I've covered that before. I need to make 11 for good measure. Actually, so oh nope, that doesn't help me any. Sky is so colorful and gorgeous. Yep. Kikocumulus are normal here. Is that I don't know what a kikocumulus is actually. Is that misspelled? Wait, that's not right. Cumulus. Ciscocumulus. No, I'm not sure what you meant to mean there. And Simpson not driving the Bronco. Yeah, you know, I'm not 100% on that one, but I do remember Simpson driving it, and I thought he had like a passenger with him. I do remember another person in there, but I thought it was him driving, and the other passenger was just sitting there minding his own business. Why would the other guy be driving then? He would have just pulled over, wouldn't he? Otherwise he's an accomplice. See, and I'm pretty sure I remember the other guy sitting in the passenger seat trying to kind of talk Simpson down. But if he's driving, why didn't he just stop? Just weird. Not only the gloves pretty much fit him, but also the white gloves underneath. Oh, does he have like white gloves? Now I could see, I do not remember him having white gloves. I remember him just his hands. But I could see if they made him wear like those latex thin gloves, like to preserve evidence kind of a deal. Because a lot of times you have to wear those latex gloves when you're handling evidence so you don't contaminate it. But yeah, I don't remember that. I have $20. Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. There should be that much. Where are all your games? I don't know what that means. Did anyone see about the Leptophalops carli snake? Can fit on a quarter. It's really small. This timeline likes this dinky things too, definitely. Let's see, the Leptophalops carli snake. There, let Google fix it. Ah, cool. Thread snake. The Barbados thread snake is a species of thread snake. Smallest known thread snake. Yeah, fits on a quarter. It looks like a worm. But it's supposed to be a snake. Look, it has this little mouth. Psh. Somebody just put a bunch of money in, did they? And input 2, and input 5. Bit of venom. Wait, oh, and input 20. Wow, thank you. And input a couple others too. Oh, before bit of venom, and input 2 and 5. Thank you. And 1. I'm just like scrolling through now. So, yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Wow. Yeah, that story that they're saying now that OJ had like a gun to his head in the back of the Bronco. I don't remember anything like that. Him being suicidal. Nothing like that. I don't remember anything like that. So maybe that explains why the guy kept driving, because he didn't want OJ to blow his head off or something. But I don't know. That's not the story I remember. I don't remember you covering those sitting Easter egg statues before. Okay, let me just I didn't cover them specifically to cover them. I just went over the types of moai. And I remember one of them was this little, looked like little babies. I don't think it was on the wiki, though. There was some. There. That looks like the image I had before. This is the one, I think. See, there's B is like a little, they're looking less baby-like, but that's interesting because the smallest one was these sitting ones, I think, before, but now they have this one. There's more kinds now, definitely. Look, there's more hat types too. The more rounded loafy kind, the square kind. This one looks like it's got sunglasses on. I don't remember any of them having sunglasses looking. I don't know if it's supposed to be darkened eyes or what. These were the smallest ones for me, and those were the squatty baby ones. Now, the face doesn't look as baby-like to me now as it did before. I think they've added one in since last I checked. And I don't remember these headpieces on there last time I checked either. I think I've already mentioned, and the headpieces changed so that they have like a curve, so they sit on the head more now. So I'm sure that I had an image similar to these guys on before and talked about that, the little squatty guys. Gloves fit now. In my timeline, they pretty much did fit. But he had to kind of, he made a big show of pulling them on and stuff, but it looked, when I'm trying to remember now, what I remember is they fit, but they were a little tight, but he made a big show of it, pulling them on. Like, oh, it's so hard. And then they said that probably because they had been blood-stained or something, it probably would have caused the leather to shrink a little and get harder and make them smaller. So it was a bad move to do the whole demo on TV because the gloves had probably shrunk, was the story they said back then. I don't know if that's the story now, but it looked like they fit to me, but it looked like he was hamming it up, trying to make it like it like they wouldn't. I won't. Thank you so much. I won't be able to make it now for a while. Thanks for all that you do. Well, thanks for coming, and hopefully you'll still watch in the tape versions. I mean, I know everybody's busy, so that's why I do it in the middle of the night, actually. It's because I know that I'll have free time. Nobody's bugging me at midnight. Okay, so Intrepid remembers the same glove fitting story as I remember. Now there's a real pic of sitting moai there, and it is big. All right, so this one is supposed to be like 2.5 times a human. Let's see. So it might be that these images here, let me see if I've seen that one before. So it's going to be a, oh shoot, I should have saved that last one. It's going to be a type B, which is moai tuturi. Moai tuturi. See if that's enough to bring it up. Images. Yeah, I don't think I'd actually seen them for realses. So that's the moai tukuturi on Easter Island. Looks nothing like the famous island's other ancient statues. Nope. It's got a big butt. The snoozle on that one, that nose. All right, let's see. Moai tuturi. Tutukuri or tuturi, kneeling moai in Tahitian style. Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one before. So yeah, if you mean that, I don't think I've actually had this image on before. I just saw the drawings. Kind of makes sense. That's kind of how it works. First you see the simpler versions and the drawings, and then you see the real thing, and then you'll see photos, and then later you'll see video. I wonder what its butt looks like. Let's see how much detail we get. It's it's real simple right now. I'm just wondering if it's going to get more finely done later. See, it's really kind of archaic looking right now, but I'm wondering if we will see better detail later. Okay, so there's a tuturi right now. Very simple style. For now, anyways. What the heck is that? Partially done moai. See, they didn't used to have all these names because there was just one. There was just the heads. So now there's like this whole pantheon of moais. Look at the face on that thing, too. That looks nothing like the other ones. I wonder if they have anything to say about those tuturis. It's tukuturi moai. I wonder what the story behind them is going to be. Completely different from the other ones found elsewhere on the island. Smaller, kneeling position. You can see its butt. Has a small beard. Or at least had. It appears to have. More roundish head, human-like compared to the normally straight rectangular heads of other moai. The tukuturi moai was made from the reddish stone of the Punapua, which is then brought to the Ranu-Raraku quarry where it now stands. Why was it brought here? Nobody knows. Statue appears to be looking towards a rongo. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Good find. Recalled Vector did a Easter Island one. Yeah, I don't know. Most of the Easter Island Emmys are just like really old to me. I mean, some of the moai continue to change, and I've done the hat one and stuff, but it's kind of like old news for me. All right, I'm gonna get to the last one here. I remember reading quite a few years ago. They dug one up and were surprised they had bodies. Yeah, that was the story for a while, but it doesn't make any sense because, I mean, you look at the images and it's clear that you can see like a neck and stuff on them. I mean, really, how bad are the archaeologists that they can't see what's in front of their own face? Kneeling down because they took an arrow to the knee. That's an old one for me. You mean the moai? I have not heard that one. My timeline, no one lived on Easter Island. Yep. Yep. There was nobody on there. I thought, how long have they known about these statues and just now dug one up? Thing is, if you look at the Easter Island statues, I mean, there's so many that I'd be surprised if you even find that story anymore. Because if you look at the images, I mean, how could you not know? I mean, look at that. You didn't know there's a body on there? I mean, you could see it, duh. And I mean, when did they line these all up? Obviously, there's a body. For a while there, you could just see the heads and a little body, but now it's like obvious, so. I mean, look at all those. How are you not going to figure out that there's something under there? Look, I mean, it's just... All right, I'm going to click on this. I always see this thing. See, they're not addressing it, I don't think, the heads. I don't know, I'll have to look for that later, but I suspect that we're not going to find that storyline anymore. It's like an intermediate storyline. I see these a lot with the Emmys. When they first come out, there's an excuse for why you didn't know about it, and it's like an intermediate storyline. And then it becomes that it was always this way. And now that your brain has kind of accepted this information, the intermediate storyline evaporates. Some have red things on their head. Yeah, I covered that, those weird hats. Now, they were saying that, I was calling them hats, but they're saying they're probably hair. They represent hair. At least last time I checked, that's what they were saying. And I just thought it was really, really ironic and maybe an ME scam of that basically you have the most famous bald statues in the history of the world, and then they put hair on them, basically. And that's how they did it, sneaky-like. By making them hats and then altering the hats and saying the hats were hair. We've got these ancient bald statues all have hair now, or a lot of them do. So it's just like the ME sneak again. All right, so we'll cover this last one. Do. Now, you guys know sea anemones, right? So, I studied sea anemones in school. I did a report on them. In my timeline, sea anemones were stuck where they were. They would land there and sprout, and that's where they were stuck with. And I always thought it was kind of sucky because, you know, what if their rock gets moved to a bad spot or it turns out to be a bad spot? Well, tough cookies. But in this timeline, there is a solution. See, a number of sea anemones can swim in this timeline. You could actually find a lot of different video of this, but it's weird because I didn't even click on that and I'm there. All right, let's try going here. Might be a little faster. Sea anemones. Yeah, this is the one I looked at before. Loading very slowly. Okay, so there's a sea anemone, and we've got a starfish coming there. So this anemone is not real happy about that. Let's jump forward to the good part. So what does it do? It takes off and it swims away. They're not stuck to their perch anymore. They can swim. Which that looks absolutely ridiculous to me. They couldn't do that before. They said not all of them can swim this good, but all of them supposedly can creep around on that foot. They're not stuck there. So, sea anemones can swim in this timeline, basically. Or they can creep around on their foot. So they're saying if you put them in your aquarium, they'll creep around to a better spot sometimes. And that just was not the case. You know, I had aquariums and stuff. You put the anemone where you liked it, and it would stay there because it had no choice, because they couldn't move. You picked where it went in the aquarium. There was no like, oh, pick a good spot or it'll move on you. And because, you know, when you're doing those saltwater aquariums, you're trying to space out everything so it doesn't encroach on each other. But I guess you can't do that now because sea anemones can either swim or they can at least slink around on their foot. Yeah, it looks ridiculous, doesn't it? I was dreaming about pizza. Yeah, it sounds good. So anyway, that is my last ME. Easter Island always had people for me. Has that changed? No, for a lot of us, Bill, ME, Easter Island was empty. It just had the head statues. The head statues pointed out to the ocean, and they were along the ocean, and that was it. They were scattered around the edges of the island. There were no people on there. The people were completely wiped out. And it was a grand mystery what happened to them, but they guessed that it was because they had used up all the wood and all the trees and then starved. But nobody really knew for sure what the statues meant or any of that. But in this timeline, they have writing. They never were completely wiped out, and their ancestors, their descendants, still live on the island to this day. So it's not that much of a mystery anymore. You could just read their writing and stuff. I mean, the statues have writing on them now, too. The statues grew boobs. Yeah, they've got some breast area, and you've got the like more up here, and they've got the ears, and there's variations between them now. They used to be just like identical. And not to mention the bodies, of course. There's almost nothing left from my timeline. Yeah, I know. It's you know, and there's some MEs I see very few people see them, very few, which, you know, is not that fun. They died out and nobody knew the real story, but in this timeline there are people living there and their ancestors built the things. Yep. Yeah, we know the whole story now, or most of it. There's not that much mystery left to it. I mean, we used to have nothing to go on, really, because we didn't have any writing and everybody was gone. So you just have statues and an island. That was it. So that was the big mystery. All right, anyways. Yeah, money popping up would be nice. That would be a good ME. You know what? Sometimes money comes into your life, it'll be like, oh, I forgot about that $100 I put under there. And then you're like, oh, how could I have forgotten that? Obviously, it's weird. Sometimes I don't trust my memories because it's like, like I'm sitting here saying I have no money, I have no money. That's not the case now, but there's been times. And then suddenly I'll find money, and then I'll be like, how could I have forgotten I have $100 here? How dumb is that? I'm dying for money, and there's $100 the whole time, and I forgot up until now. I just wonder, sometimes I just wonder if it's an ME, basically. It's an ME with a little memory download or something. Because it just sometimes they just seem the money just comes at really interesting times. Another time I suddenly got this insurance inheritance thing. Some kind of money was left to me right when I needed it. It was just a couple, like 2,000, but it was really useful at the time. Do you remember that Mexico has the largest underwater cave system? Are we talking about those cenotes? Because I think those cenotes to me are pretty much an ME. They showed up about 10 years ago, but they were just kind of neat little pits. And now they're like this huge system, and they're everywhere, and they're really, really, really cool. So yes and no. I mean, long time ago, no, but that's been developing for a long time. And I do think I remember lately they've been saying that they're all connected underneath and stuff. Oh, and an angel, another $5. Thank you. You are an angel. I'll just make sure that you don't give me any money that you don't need is all I have to say, though, because, I'm okay. So you don't need to give me money if you need it. So I just warn everybody that way. Where can I email you a 4-second clip about the Jimmy Fallon ME? You can send it. There's how do you get there? It's what is that email? It's once upon a timeline at yahoo.com. I'm pretty sure that's right. I check it rarely though, so I have to admit so don't expect a quick response because I'm pretty negligent about that email. Money trees, yeah. Well, then, see, the trouble, if the monies grew on trees, then monies wouldn't be worth anything. So that would kind of cause a problem. It's the scarcity factor that makes the value. I need to find about $5 million. You don't need to find it, but you want to find it. Slight difference. Doubling the final consonant in a verb rule may be an ME. Let's see. Doubling. I just did it. That might be why canceling has 2 L's now. In a word with one syllable, doubling the final consonant only if the word ends in a vowel plus a consonant. Let's just get some examples. Stop, stop, stopping. Okay, well, that's still good. He tipped the waiter. He crammed for the test. He regretted the things. Vote does not get it because it ends in a vowel. Instruct ends in 2 consonants, so it doesn't get it. Listen has 2 syllables, so it doesn't get it. I don't know. I don't remember that rule, but I don't see any new spellings due to it. I could be wrong, though. It might be that that's a rule now and a few things flipped over to fit the rule. I'm not sure. All right. Anyways, 147 might be one of my shorter shows, but still an hour and 45 minutes, so not too bad. Thank you for all the monies. Let's see, I'm going to go over, see if I can remember how to find the super chats. Yeah, it's weird. I found it one week, and then last week I could not figure out how I found it. It used to be a way you could pop out the super chat and see. Maybe that's it. Open in a new window. The computer's really slow. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot today. Can't believe that's from the same day. So, and in 10, Ghosty 333 5, Dark Wolf's Den 5, and in 1, and in 2, and in 5, Bit of Venom 10 pounds, which I think is similar to dollars, and an Angel $20, and an Angel $5. It's a lot of money. Don't give me too much money, guys, because if you need it, then make sure you keep it for yourself. I mean, obviously, I like getting money too, but I just don't want anybody to do anything that's bad for them. So I think that it's time for me to hit the road. It's euros. Yeah, euros. I'm pretty sure euros are more than dollars. Euro, USDs. Euros to USD. Yeah, see, euros are more. So if you gave me 10 euros, it's 11.28 US dollars, which is cool. So thank you. I think they used to be even more than that. The dollar's been a little weak. I do buy stuff from Europe sometimes, so I have to check that occasionally. All right. Okay, so I think we're hitting the road now. I'm going to get to sleep at sort of, kind of, a reasonable hour tonight, maybe. Which helps a lot in the morning because I'm not so sleepy. Who's up for the UK meetup? Yeah, you guys. I should just let you talk longer. One of you guys has got to be in charge of the UK meetup. I don't know. If it's like next year, I might even try to go. I'm going to try to go to that Idaho meetup for Dark Wolf's Den, too. I'm hoping I'll be able to sneak out of here. I can't. It's not that long to get to Idaho, so that makes it easy. And it's pretty cheap getting to Idaho, too. It looks like planes flying to catch them. I'll have to work on that details. But yeah, it'd be cool if UK had one like a year from now or something. You guys can always have a little meetup, you know, like, and just kind of get to know each other too. The plane. Yeah, that I haven't heard that. Oh, I think that wasn't that an Emmy that he doesn't yell the plane anymore on Fantasy Island. I think that was an older one. I haven't heard of that one in a while. All right, so one of you guys has got to be in charge of the UK meetup, and then we've got Dark Wolf's Den, November 8 to 10 in Ketchum, Idaho. And if people in the U.S. Flying to Idaho is pretty cheap, so hopefully there'll be fun stuff to do. I hear it's really beautiful in Idaho. Can black people go to Idaho? To Utah? No, it's Idaho, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think it's that violent a neighborhood in Idaho. Well, I'll stick up for you. If we go around as a pack, then nobody will mess with you. You just have to somehow get to the hotel intact. Cupie's in charge. Cupie's not in the UK, though. She's over in Palau. So I don't think that Cupie can be in charge of the UK meetup. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be a little bit more awkward to do it from not being in the UK. Email me for discounts on hotel rooms. Yep, for sure. QP would be alone in Palau. Yeah, actually, that must be hard. I mean, it's not that big an island, so there's the chances of meeting another ME person on there are not huge. All right. I'm really, 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 really gonna sign out now. Doom, doom. The idea of meeting a bunch of people is pretty exciting, though, so that'll be cool. You guys should totally do a UK meetup. All right. Anyways, this is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline. Thank you, everybody, for coming.